Welcome to Undercomplicated, where we, two psychologists and coaches with over 40 years of combined experience, share our insights to help undercomplicate important topics. A friendly reminder as we get started that this video is meant to be conversational and entertaining, not to be replaced with any sort of therapeutic or coaching treatment. So if you wanted more information about those types of things, please see the information section below this video. Stacey, do you want to do an introduction?
Yes, thank you. I'm Stacey Gedeon. I'm a health psychologist and a speaker and a healthcare consultant and coach. And how about you, Dr. Radico?
Yeah, Julie Radico. I am a psychologist, a coach. I work with professional women, and I'm also an author and a speaker. Our topic today, we're going to dive right into another big question. How can I manage shame? How can I be kind to myself when I'm feeling shame?
It is important and to distinguish between feelings of guilt and feeling shame.
Hmm.
And people may be aware of this, but kind of the overall overarching idea is guilt is I did something bad. So maybe hurting someone's feelings inadvertently. Shame is I am bad. My whole being is just unworthy and shouldn't be taking up space on this planet. Uh,
Mm.
and we know that shame affects self-esteem. It isolates us, and it has a lot of negative consequences, and can come from a lot of different places. I wonder if you could speak a little bit to how it develops, where it might come from.
Yeah, yeah. Quick side step for listeners is Stacey is talking about this idea of like shame and guilt. Brene Brown has a lot of great material that you can read, you can watch online. So if you wanted to look up Brene Brown and shame, she's a shame researcher and just remarkable in this space. So yeah, shame can come from a whole lot of places, especially like this idea of like I am bad rather than like I've done something bad. In working with people, especially like in therapy, I often help them get to, and we recognize that the roots, not always, but often come from our childhood experiences, like how we learned that we're allowed to take up space in the world or not take up space in the world. And this isn't to turn into like, oh, we're just gonna crap on parents and it's all our parents' faults. And I mean, sometimes it's true, sometimes it's not. And sometimes it's a beautiful mixture of all the realities, right? That our parents are flawed human beings and do their best. And if you're 6 years old and you are in a setting where you're really needing to be quiet or respectful, and you're 6, you don't get it, and you are running around, and your parents are like, "You're a terrible child." They didn't say the guilt thing of your behavior was terrible, which still isn't great, but like maybe a little bit better. They did the full-on shame thing.
Right.
You are a terrible child. So now they're labeling you as a whole entity that you're terrible. And we internalize that, right? Our parents are the be all end all when we're
Yes.
kids. They are the authority. And so we believe them. And whether we have the wherewithal to question that or doubt that as 6-year-olds, but like maybe you're the most self-actualized 6-year-old that's ever existed. You're like, I don't know, mom. I don't know, dad. I don't know, parent figure. Like, I don't know if I agree with it. Like, it is really hard not to internalize that when, especially when it's people that you care about or who like love you, when they say you're terrible and you go, okay, well, I'll just log that in. And now that's part of my belief system about myself.
Right. Right. And then if you were to add to that and think maybe an extended family or a culture
Mm,
where maybe certain things are dogma. You must succeed. You must excel. You must
mm,
get all A's. If we're to consider you worthy of this family and to not disrespect this family or embarrass this family. And so it can also come from even more than our families of origin, but even extended family and environments and culture. So it can be really pervasive and kind of hard to untwist and unwind from there. What are some things that you found either to be helpful or some other examples of what might contribute to ongoing shame?
Yeah, yeah. I just resonate with what you shared so much that like sometimes there are these dogmas, these truths that in the culture, the society, the area, the region, that like all the layers of where we live and try to grow that we like, you know, we learn when to feel shame about ourselves and when to like things are not acceptable. And the frustrating part is we don't fit nicely into boxes. As human beings, we are like emotional, we dysregulate, which is a fancy way of saying like y'all, sometimes you're like, I don't know why I'm feeling that emotion. I'm just not in the mood. I am struggling right now. And like that's just part of the human condition. And but we have like the fit into this box and don't go outside the box and then you'll be worthy of praise, you'll be worthy of the acceptance, you'll be doing all the right things. It's hard to set boundaries around some of this stuff for yourself and knowing like and trusting the true fact that your worth is not decided by other people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like almost impossible to learn as a child, right? Like we, and sometimes it's hard to break out of that forever in our lives because we are social beings. Humans are social beings. How do we not get kicked out of the group and how do we
Right.
stay protected? Like we fit in. We do what the group wants us to do. We fit into the box as much as we possibly can. And some of that is for the greater good. And some of that is just like, it just leads to shame. It leads to, oh, well, I couldn't sit still in class. I must be a bad kid.
Right.
Oh, like said that mean thing to my friend and it just came out. Like my frontal lobe is not fully formed because I'm not old enough and I couldn't keep it in. And now like I'm a bad friend. Not I did something that was unkind in that moment, but I'm a bad friend. Like that, there's just so much that we're trying to like we get asked to fit into these perfect little boxes. That's impossible.
Well, and then add to that, let's just say body shaming or and social media
Mm,
and people being really aware of their physical appearance and
mm,
feeling such shame about them maybe not matching up to whatever they're seeing online or what society thinks a person should look like and be like. And so again, then what that leads to is okay, well, then I'm not going to go out. I'm not going to participate with people because I am so unworthy and so, not in that same group. And then we feel worse and worse. And I think we've all heard the term, shame spiral. Yeah, you just go down and down and down, and then it's hard to really come out of that.
mm.
So I think that's another factor that plays a role is when people, what is the saying? To compare is despair,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
but it's true. And there may be things you can't change about yourself and your physical appearance. I wish I were 5'9". I will never be 5'9". Um, so yeah, it's another factor I think that plays a role, particularly, in modern day.
Yeah. I mean, we could talk for hours just on there are so many businesses that their whole business is for you, like how they survive and make billions of dollars is for you to feel bad about yourself and to
Yes.
feel shame about yourself because you're not 5'9" or
Right.
you're not, you don't, and the super frustrating part is that it's ever evolving. So I was gonna like pick a thing. It's gonna change in
Yeah.
like if you're watching this video today versus like 2 months from now.
Right.
Like and some of the insidiousness of this is that we trying to fit into this box, appearance, personality, behavior, all and then we do sometimes go, okay, well, I think it is worthwhile to fit in, to mold myself in this way. And then the standard changes, and you're like, oh, I just changed my whole self to try to fit into this mold. And now you're telling me it's that now? Like, and this is what comes when we label ourselves with I'm ugly. I'm not good enough. I'm a bad person. I'm not worthwhile. I'm not lovable. Like those shame spirally kinds of things. I'm curious, Stacey, like what can we share with people to help them like chip away at this a little bit to get out of the feeling stuck in the shame spiral?
Like with our other videos, I think the first step is always acknowledging that it's even going on.
Mm,
Um, so one strategy that I love that comes from acceptance and commitment therapy is cognitive diffusion. And it helps you to kind of separate out from I am shame.
mm,
So, a step might be, I notice shame. And you may notice a physical sensation. You may notice pressure or tightness in your chest or feeling down or sad.
mm,
And then you might remove it a step further. I notice that I'm having the feeling of shame. And it helps to separate the emotion from the being.
mm,
Um, Much like to your point of, when correcting a child, you really focus on the behavior because that's modifiable, and not calling the child bad because, gosh, how do you kind of manage that? So that's one of my favorite go-tos. Do you have anything else that you typically suggest people do?
yeah, I would add to that in really helping ourselves by catching how we're talking to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
The we mentioned earlier in this video, like labeling this, like, I might label myself as bad. Like just the distinction in how your thoughts are going of I might have an automatic thought. We can talk all about cognitive behavioral therapy and this idea that you're having thousands of thoughts a day, right? And we work with our clients and their thoughts are these things that just pop into their heads where they might be like, oh, I'm so stupid. Catch that. Start to notice if you're saying, I'm stupid versus, oh, I just did a dumb thing or I did a stupid thing. Because that is worlds different. Like, I know it can feel like we're, sometimes getting really like specific when we talk about that, but it's so important. It's like, I am not stupid, but I will totally own I have done stupid things. Like, welcome to the club of being a human being. And there's a difference between the shame that comes from I am stupid. Like that's it. That's just who I
Right?
am. I'm not going to be able to break out of it. People aren't going to love me because of it. I'm not worthwhile because like that. Just notice the language that you use because saying like, yeah, I did a stupid thing. Like everybody, like all of us, have probably done a stupid thing today. Like
Right.
whenever you are listening to this, you have done something stupid. It's what we do. Um, and like that is just so important to be kind to yourself in the language that you use to yourself, because the ultimate goal, and I think what we would encourage for ourselves, for others, is to remove that altogether and like to not even have to use the word stupid, to say like, oh, I was hopeful that would go a different way, and here's how I'll approach it next time.
Mm-hmm.
That's like next level thinking that takes a good amount of work. So really, like just start by noticing, are you labeling yourself when you're thinking about yourself? Because that is gonna feed that shame spiral, and it's so not helpful at all.
But truly, 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 you are what you think.
Mm.
So if you think you're dumb, guess what? You're going to feel like you are dumb. Um, so it is important to notice what you're telling yourself. And so I appreciate that you emphasize that point.
Ah, what what would be a key takeaway that you would have for people?
I think it's really back to what you just emphasized is notice how you talk to yourself internally and start to question that, first notice and kind of put the brakes on so it doesn't spiral down, and then start to be a little kinder to yourself. That's always one of our messages. And separate yourself. I guess I named a bunch of things from the behavior.
Mm,
How about you?
yeah, I echo that. Be kind to yourself. The version of you that helped you have the capacity to reflect on your thoughts and your emotions, like that version of you that had to wade through all that shame, that's a valuable, important version of you to be kind to. Don't shame your past self as you're realizing that you're stuck in these unhelpful patterns. Like you've learned and gained insights throughout your whole journey, and be kind to yourself throughout all of this. So we talked about like a really important, heavy topic in a bite-sized amount of time. If this resonated with you, please share it with people that you care about in your life. Also, as always, please like, comment, subscribe. You can message us on YouTube or LinkedIn with suggestions of questions that you'd like us to discuss in future episodes.